Hey there, this is Red Falcon. This is the 10th and final match of the 2022 Summer Wargame Red Dragon Microdeck Tournament Series. With me today is my co-host Trout. Today we have the Mod Squad versus the Baddies. We have Mod Squad on Team Red, and we have the Baddies on Team Blue. So Trout, got any final words on this tournament of the season?
I am super excited for this end match. It is a wonderful grudge match, a wonderful rematch. This is the same map and the same teams that happened earlier in the tournament, and the mod squad came out on top. The baddies got beat, and they had to go to the redemption bracket. They fought their way through the redemption bracket back to this final, and so this is the kind of match I think everyone looks forward to. It is the same ground, the same teams, and definitely something to prove for both teams. One team is proving they can win every single match, and the other team is proving that they can come back to win the match. And it'll be very fun to watch. Interesting deck combinations. We have uh, three DPRK decks, so three lots of pull volume, lots of units, lots of stuff out there. But nothing super strong for the most part. There is B5, but there's you know not as many really solid heavy ATGMs versus some very solid blue 4 decks. So I'm really looking forward to this fight, and I'm really looking forward to the way it plays out.
Absolutely. And taking a look here, we see that Shipfight Mountain is going to be occupied quite aggressively from both sides. And we can see that Autumn is setting up a primary armor line over by Juliet, and Autumn is also going to be setting up a mechanized secondary line over by Kilo. This should be interesting. And we got formerly known as Amvariel, or um, what are some other aliases that this person has used in Mod Squad? I have to remember.
If it's got America with 3Ks, that is probably Imperial.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's Amvariel, but they've gone by a couple other things throughout the tournament. They've kept changing their name. Might be a bit of an identity crisis, but for sure we should see them being able to use this plateau that is their intended location. And Jade's planning to set up some anti-tank teams of Vajats over just on the south end of Juliet, or I should say on the north end. Always keep forgetting sometimes that the little white arrow on the mini map always points to true north. Because sometimes I'm always looking at the relative location for north, but that doesn't always equate to true. All right, and so yeah, all right, are we ready then?
I am ready. I am roaring. I want to see this match go down.
Absolutely. All right, three, two, one, go, and they're off. So we're seeing Spaghetti pull what looks to be a different deck than the last match. We're seeing them pulling what I think is probably a USA mechanized deck with M2A1 Bradleys, Chaparrals, and yeah, just a solid line of mechanized forces. And Autumn, it looks like they're going to be utilizing uh, challengers, chieftains, some warrior Milans, and Bubble is going fast and hard into hotel with the KM 900s. I believe are probably holding heavy young 90s.
Looking at the mod squad, a small contingent of Chomahos heading up from Burial into kind of the Kilo area, and a decent contingent of Corsians and infantry heading from Jade up into Charlie, as well as we're seeing a very early and very heavy naval pull by some guy. We've got an Udaloy already pulled onto the map, and several Terrantals coming out very, very early in the match. That is a lot of points for a lot of very heavy naval assets.
And that Udaloy is quite a monster. It is packing the best Sea Whiz of any ship in the game that I'm aware of, with the highest health pool of any ship in the game. It should be quite interesting to see how well this can dish out. And it can serve an anti air missile uh, every second with its Kinzel missile system. And we see Bubble Bathos over here with an F-14 Tomcat. Looks like they're just kind of focusing on doing combat air patrol. And we see Spaghetti over here with an F4J Phantom 2 doing combat air patrol over Hotel as well. And Spaghetti is also doing some combat air patrol over Kilo. I think they learned from the last time they're not going to take kindly to any more of those helicopter flanks that they had in the first match.
I will say a very quick, very efficient deployment by Autumn onto Juliet. All the right assets. You know, you got anti-air, you got a lot of nice tanks, you got some reconnaissance. Pushing right onto Juliet, and a good selection of infantry, tanks, and anti-air pushing over towards the area between Lima and Kilo. Just to analyze, kind of looking at what's all being pulled. We have two fobs over on the baddie side of the map, so they have quite a solid base for supplies throughout the match. And over on the mod squad side, they have one fob over on Delta, and so not quite as many supplies, but still a significant place to pull from there throughout the match.
Absolutely. And it looks like some guy is pushing through Anna, and they are they are aware that the enemy has an Udaloy present. That the baddies are aware that the Mud Squad has the Udaloy present. It should definitely be an interesting sort of match that is yet to come. Um, and I think they're yep they put a flare, believing where they might think that there is a command unit. Um, we shall see. The bomb boom might be hard to spot that deep into the forest line. Udaloy just getting some free shots off on the parked Hueys over there.
Looking at the Udaloy from the perspective of the baddies, spotted very early, very visible. You know, more visible than Terrantals for sure. And definitely you can see it pushing immediately in for Foxtrot, so it'll be interesting to see what they do to try to counter that.
Indeed. And looks like we're seeing some engagements over here by Jade. Autumn pushed up the Chieftain Mark II, and one of them got taken out by anti-tank missiles. But the Band Tank Vajats have expended about half their missiles trying to take out a tank, or at least one of the squads did, anyways. No, two of the squads did.
Kind of, yeah, interesting to see. Normally, Shipfight Mountain is quite heavily contested fairly early in the match. There's a lot of units on Shipfight Mountain, but not a lot of actually pushed up onto the mountain. So we have units from the blue side kind of stuck in Hotel, and units from the red side sort of stuck in Charlie. So both sides are kind of waiting for the other side to take the initiative on Shipfight Mountain and respond to that. But no one has really effectively pushed in and really fought that point yet.
If those Haebyungs get into the town where those T-55s are, those T-55s are going to get absolutely mulched. Oh, we are seeing an anti-ship strike.
And
Here we go. They are going hard in on I think, what is going to be the Udaloy. Oh, that was a painful loss there. But the Udaloy has survived. The first run.
very solid use of the Terrantals. Those Terrantals out front and definitely intercepted a lot of those missiles coming in, along with Eloy intercepting a lot of the missiles.
Yep.
Took some damage, but definitely rolling right on into Foxtrot still.
Storm HVM getting absolutely shelled to hell and taken out. This would be a great time if anybody uh, on Mod Squad had helicopters to fly in and land in Foxtrot. There would not be a high enough response time, but we aren't really seeing that right yet. But this is almost like a textbook naval landing. You get in,
We have a couple
decap,
emergency units.
but you still need to follow up with an assault now, which is quite surprising because I believe that Bubble Bathist is indeed using Marines, but we didn't see any deployment of Lafayette's, and we haven't seen any heavy deployment of anti-ship missiles. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what they might have had if they get the chance to pull it. Um, so yeah, that should be interesting. Meanwhile,
Looking over the rest of the map,
mhm,
we have a little bit of light infantry fighting over on Juliet. Just some Bachaksu fighting with some Green Jackets. And over on Kilo, Kilo has not effectively been contested by Mod Squad. And that, if that's captured, that will be a problem very, very quickly for the Mod Squad.
yep, they've got a command coming in en route by Spaghetti. It'll have to come in from India, but it's on its way. You see the MiG-29Ks from Avaril or America going in to fly in over Alpha to knock out some of these helicopters.
Looking over at Foxtrot, those 5 ships are sitting there. That route is contested for Foxtrot for naval assets coming in from the baddies. However, there is no supporting assets and there's no invasion force. And so, although that route's been captured, there's nothing to push that right now. And there's no huge emergent needs to be dealt with right now threat, really, from those ships sitting there, which is kind of odd. You'd think there would be, but there sort of isn't.
Yep, there's two K1s parked over by Foxtrot. Um, oh, we got an anti-ship plane in strike. Holy shit! Missiles are being intercepted. Not a not a single one broke through.
I will say, nice coordination. 4 planes pulled at the same time, all very effectively coming in. And unfortunately, with that volume of Tarantals and that volume of Seawiz, unable to really effectively land a good solid strike against any of those ships.
Absolutely. And the Udaloy just looked at those missiles and said, "How about no?" And that was a good amount. There must have been at least 10 missiles of anti-ship missiles inbound for it. And the Tarantals and the Udaloy just managed to absolutely intercept all of them.
All right, we're about 10 minutes into the match now. Looking over the two sides, we've got a plus 2 point lead, 60 points to 0 points, and that is for the baddies. Um, Interestingly enough, very few artillery assets pulled. Very much focused on the ship landing, very much focused on establishing those front lines, very much focused on bringing in anti-ship planes and bringing in ASF. We're seeing some Mi-8 gunships being pulled by the Mod Squad, but not a lot of heavy assets being pulled in. A couple Tokchon 130s just coming in right now.
And it looks like we see Spaghetti bringing in a section of M1A1 Abrams over by Kilo. Fan tank for Jet giving away its position and being fired on by the Challenger 1 Mark III. So we got some guy bringing in a Muna, unescorted, but it is moving into those ships. So it looks like it's going to repair them.
Autumn's pulling a command unit in for Juliet. Command tank, a little bit more expensive, a bit more durable as well. Good choice for that fairly aggressive frontline fight that looks to be brewing in Juliet.
And looks like there was an attempt by Autumn to try and shoot at the ships with the Challenger 1 Mark IIIs, but the Udaloy just said nah. Looked at them, fired on them, and started dealing a lot of damage, forcing Autumn back into the woods, and really kind of making Autumn and the rest of the team, I believe, relatively uncomfortable right now with that much of a heavy naval presence, because it's opened the door. But the problem is that nobody's walking through yet.
I will point out a very, very heavy point lead at this point. We have a +4 point lead very early in the match, which is a very, very healthy lead. 192 points to
Hold
0
on, Chief. We got another anti-ship
for the
strike.
Caddies. Let's see what happens.
Tarantul's out. Absolutely boomed.
So, good choice. After several unsuccessful strikes on the Udaloy, the baddies have changed their focus and very successfully taken out a Tarantul.
Yep, that's probably the way it's going to have to go. The Tarantuls are more or less acting for a picket for the Udaloy. If all those Tarantuls are killed, the Udaloy becomes a lot more easier to take out. And I think some guy realizes now his his ships are on the clock to make this assault happen.
Got a couple MI4s over Alpha. I'd like to see where those infantry drop. If they drop to fight in the islands, or if they drop to fight over in Foxtrot. Interesting looking over supporting assets early in the match here. Unvarial has pulled fairly quickly 4 Tokchon 130s, so there's a good volume of fire, a good volume of artillery. Currently, that is unopposed, so there is no artillery presence on the baddies' side. I guess they've got other priorities for those points, and kind of oddly enough, it's different. Normally they have artillery out fairly quickly, and this time they definitely don't. We're 50 minutes into the game, and they haven't pulled a single piece of artillery.
And those supplies are now shelled out of existence. And it looks like America or Vario is just gonna keep shelling this area over here where Autumn is.
Been a very successful shelling by the looks of it. A lot of the infantry being wiped out of there, a lot of the units being wiped out of there. It's a couple challengers, Warrior Milan and Stormer, and that's really about it.
And we got another anti-ship strike inbound.
I'm guessing they'll target the Muna. That would be the logical target.
And one of the missiles got through,
And
detonating the Mona.
good amount of splash. 2 of those Tarantuls took 2 bars of damage, and one of them took 1, as well as a little bit of damage splashed through the Udaloy. So solid target, solid strike.
Absolutely.
We see our first infantry landing over in Foxtrot. There's some Yik die
Hold on.
heading into the
We
forest.
see 6 B5s flying. Yep. 6 B5s flying towards Foxtrot.
And a solid wing of MiG-23 MLs coming in. That is a lot of points in aircraft, all coming in. We wonder where the points have been going for the mod squad. Here they are. This is a lot of assets coming in to hopefully do a lot of damage. Very light counter, a little bit of mistral fire coming in.
The Phantoms coming in with the tornadoes. We've seen the killing of about 3 to 4 B5s. That's a really hefty loss to be taking.
That is very, very expensive this early in the match for sure. Those assets are not easily replaceable, and although the North Koreans have a lot of units to pull,
And unfortunately, they failed to kill any major target, the command unit, in that strike. They did not go for the corner where it might have been most logical.
Taking a quick look over the map, Kilo is very quiet, very well occupied by Spaghetti. Spaghetti's got some riflemen down, some infantry, fighting vehicles, Bradleys. Nice positioning, not a lot of recon, some anti-air. Juliet is lightly occupied by Autumn. And interestingly enough, a early push by Bubble Bathist into Charlie. So not a lot of stuff going on in Shipfight Mountain,
Hold
and
on.
very
We
successfully.
got a helicopter assault of gunships going straight for Gulf.
Well, we gotta watch this, don't we?
Yep.
MIA gunships, unsupported, no air support,
No
no
recon.
infantry following them, no recon. An interesting choice, an interesting attack. We'll see what happens. There are a lot of chaparrals in that area. One,
Stormers.
two, Stormers and chaparrals. And they are taking a heavy toll on those gunships. Every gunship that gets into range is getting chewed to pieces.
Meanwhile, the gunships over by Fedor are Foxtrot. They've managed to successfully kill. No, they did not kill the Bamboo yet. There's still one
It's a good
Bamboo
attempt.
left.
They know what they're looking for. They know what they're targeting, but those Phantoms have come in very successfully, and those ground anti-air assets have very successfully as well punished and repulsed that attack.
Absolutely. It's unfortunate. You would think that there might have been some artillery strikes or something, perhaps. Um, not that to say that the top 23 millimeters can't. They do have the range to strike out that far and start doing some damage, but we're just not seeing it.
While that's going on, if you take a look at Charlie really quickly, you'll see some Hebyung fighting some Bachangsu, and there's a UAZ right there on Charlie. So if those Hebyung successfully wipe out those Bachangsu, there's a very good chance that UAZ will be knocked out, and Charlie will be lost to the mod squad.
Yep, and this is almost a no contest. The Changsu just aren't going to stand up to Heibyung 90. If not even
Got
for like the training variations of difference, then definitely for the fact that Heibyung are 15-man squads each. They can.
I'll draw your attention to Kilo. We have an attack going into Kilo. Unfortunately, it is good assets, lots of tanks, a couple different directions. Some artillery support, but the artillery support is going deep, not spreading smoke, not spreading suppression. No air support. We'll see what happens to these Chomahos as they push into Kilo.
M1A1 engaging these Chomoho 4s. They are not stopping. They are being engaged, and they do not have recon. Or
Oh, back over
they do
to
have recon
Foxtrot, please.
T55, but oh, here we go.
We've got B5 coming in, and we've got several B5s and some ASF coming in to try another strike on Foxtrot.
Solid assist by Jade, and looks like the Yukjon 90 have landed.
It's taken a while to get that naval assault going. It's taken a while to land assets, and it's nice to see something attacking into Foxtrot and really trying to capitalize on that early capture of that naval corridor.
Absolutely, but it seems like it might be too little, but we'll see. Um, after 20 minutes in, the naval assault needed to have gone a lot more smoother by now, considering how early they managed to capture it.
I will say, looking at the points right now and looking at the clock, this is a very lopsided match. So That +4 point bleed has continued through most of the match. We have 758 points to 0 for the baddies. And despite the fact that they've lost their naval corridor, despite the fact that there have been some very, very aggressive attacks, that point lead is very frightening and really, really forces the mod squad to take drastic action to try to reduce that.
And unfortunately for America here, they're gonna have to figure out how to deal with these Abrams. Artillery is pouring in on the Abrams, it looks like. And the Abrams has been taken out. The Bradley is currently being shelled. And the platoon of Tomahawk 5s is pushing through.
Very interesting to see not a single unit of artillery being pulled by the baddies. Almost all the artillery being pulled by the mod squad.
Ooh.
So a very, very different game, a very, very different lineup of units.
And we just saw some Yukon 90 get absolutely smashed by a Harrier GR7. And we got some more anti-ship planes inbound. Looks like they're going for the Tarantul again.
Important play, bringing the point lead down to +2. Successful attack with some gunships and some Chomahos into the corner of Kilo, knocking out the command there.
So it looks like some guy tried calling in some cautions earlier, but he did not hold it long enough while he was calling in units, and the cautions are now coming in from Bravo, unfortunately. Just a really unfortunate mechanical play there to try to capitalize on the naval landing, and that is that's a really hard loss to take. Because looking at it, those are probably all transporting Geogokte 90. To my best guess by some guy.
Well, some people have a hobby, and sometimes it's swimming the English Channel. This is swimming some sort of Korean channel. So,
Well, we see 3 B5s inbound. Some guy and Jade have brought their B5s, and they're looking to nuke somewhere. I'll come back to that in a moment. We see some Chomoho 5s pushing upwards. Just cleaning house. M1A1 by Spaghetti is over on the side here. But it absolutely gets smoked by those Chomoho 5s. But the riflemen are still here, and they're going to be a little more tougher to take with an M1A1 at that range.
you know, it's not the defense you necessarily want, just having a few riflemen there, but it is something, and they do have those laws, and AT4s, actually, those riflemen 90.
Yeah, and
They will cause a lot of damage to those Chomahos if they get in range.
yep, and not to mention not just Chomohos, but the Type 59s that are coming at them too. Oh, the Type 59 1B getting a missile off on the Cobra with the Type Chomoho 5s gunning it down.
Oh, big loss. Tom Cruise has left the battlefield.
Oh,
Some MiG-23 MLs in a 4-stack have just wiped out the Tomcat.
looks like we saw a B5 strike land back in Gulf, but the command is nowhere near be that side. It's on the other side of Gulf.
Interesting action as some guys bringing another command in to Foxtrot. Not a lot of support for that. Just one command, an MI8, not a lot of infantry. It would be nice to see something supporting that, but we'll see what happens with it.
Meanwhile, we see some Harrier GR7s inbound. Looks like they're going for the Chomoho 4s over here. Oh, they redirected their course. All right, we're starting to see a lot of infantry coming in. Looks like they're going to try to deal with the riflemen finally. And we got some artillery coming in to smash the town.
I will mention we are down to a 0-0, so at 860 points for baddies, 0 points for the mod squad. There is no point lead, and we are at about 30 minutes, just closing in on 30 minutes. This is a critical point in the match. The mod squad wants to make a comeback. They've really got to push hard now. They've really got to take some points, and they've really got to have some successful attacks.
And it looks like Jade is going for a counterattack back into Charlie to try to take out some of these Hueys. Armed with Shilkas, 3 Pachangsu, 1 for each squad. Jade is looking, yep, he's pulling in supply. He needs to rearm everybody and refuel everything. But I don't know if 1 truck is going to be enough. Also, it looks like Bubble has detected that there is something that landed back here finally. And it's the command unit Jimmy Bond from some guy. I think it's going to try to get into Gulf to decap.
Interesting choice, very aggressive, very kind of on its own. Command units are not exactly known for their ability to sustain if they are attacked. And so I'd like to see some more units come up to support that and potentially reinforce that so it can successfully capture Gulf. Because there's, frankly, quite a bit of stuff in Gulf.
Portions just managed to take out a Bradley with the 73mm heat gun. But we're also seeing Spaghetti charge in with Bradleys and riflemen against the Chomaho 5s.
I will point out on Charlie, the UAZ there has been displaced by some Habyungs pushing in from the north side of that period. And that gives the baddies a +2 lead again.
And it looks like the Bradleys managed to flank the Chomaho 5 and side shot it with the autocannon. Jimmy Bond is still kind of just marching through the woods.
Looking at the area between Lima and Kilo, there's a really good density of infantry, of tanks, of fighting vehicles for the mod squad in Kilo, and we'll see what they do with that. It looks like a general attack could bring lots of assets forward. A good place for some coordinated artillery strikes to drive the riflemen out if they can get those mortars firing and really clear out the infantry. Because there's not a lot beyond infantry between Kilo and Lima. It's literally at this point some chaparrals and 3 squads of riflemen.
And there seems to be a marker put out on some Hueys, trying to instruct some guy to avoid those Hueys. And we got some MiG-23 MLs inbound. Looks like it's going for some combat air patrol. And we got anti-ship strike inbound. Oh,
Oh, gotta watch those.
and another Tarantul sunk.
Oh, nice shot.
Absolutely. And that was another Muna. And so another Muna is called out. The sacrificial Muna.
You know, set up an altar on Shitpipe Mountain, eh? I'm still not seeing these mortars firing, so lots of BTT 323 120 millimeters out in the field, but they're not laying down a lot of fire. They're kind of just sitting back there. There's a lot of points, it's a lot of artillery, and really at this point in the match, it needs to be used to push those attacks and to really push forward into Lima.
Especially on the towns and known fire positions like the Bradley.
Successful use of the Toxtron 130, so they are providing very effective fire into the Fusiliers to help soften that area up and really help those Bachonks who push forward and clear out some of the woods.
Absolutely. And the Toktron 130mm have a 27-kilometer range, means that you can pretty much effectively fire anywhere on the map when it's in the center, and pretty efficiently.
I think we missed it while we were talking. Looks like there was a quick cap of Gulf, and unfortunately it did not last. The command unit came in, ran into some Bradleys, and died very, very rapidly.
Yep. Unfortunate, unfortunate. So we got Autumn's mortars doing some work now. They're kind of starting to fire on positions that are advancing by Mod Squad. Oh, Type 59 just got side-shotted out by a Bradley. And I don't think they have the recon to spot the Bradley that's firing because it has medium stealth. Yep, they can't see that Bradley, even though it's firing.
Good to see those mortars coming out. The baddies have not pulled almost any artillery this match, and we're seeing some K9 Thunders coming onto the field, and we're seeing some mortars finally coming onto the field.
And it looks like the Haveyoung are making their way through Charlie finally. And looks like they're about to evict Mod Squad from the premises.
A lot of patience by Bubble Baptist there, just bringing units in, slowly pushing them forward, kind of doing a bit of slow reconnaissance.
And the K9 Thunders have made their entrance. They are firing on Charlie with their artillery and stunning the hell out of the Bachonks and eliminating them entirely.
I don't believe there are any Bachonks there any longer.
Nope. And it looks like the command jeep is on its way out. It's decided to go home. Or,
That
oh wait,
returns the +2. Oh,
nope, it's gonna stay here and just be a nuisance in the corner. But they see it. They know it's there.
We're in a combat zone right now.
Unfortunately for Jade, a lot of his fuel tanks have been spent trying to work out a flank maneuver through the woods, trying to find the command. Really unfortunate. Only ones that still have any fuel left are the Corsians.
yeah, that shuts down a lot of options with only 30 riflemen standing in that area. Successful attack by all those recon tanks with the Chomhos would definitely have wiped them out in extremely short order and potentially have allowed for a pretty solid advance into Lima.
Yep, there's something to be said about having your logistics covered before you make a arduous journey.
I will say the BTT 323 120s are still quiet, so they have been pretty much quiet the whole match. And unfortunately, that would be an asset that would be very, very useful for some of these attacks. Definitely useful for some of Umberial's attacks into Lima.
Indeed. And it looks like Jade has tapped out. He's he might have more units, but at this point he probably feels like it's with the point lead where it's at, with the timer left on the clock. The best thing he could do is try to help his teammates, or their teammates, get all the way to the edge here.
Kind of looking over the map, Jade has had a challenging match. They have been placed on Shipite Mountain. That's a very big priority fight, as well as trying to develop a flank over into Lima. So two places that require a lot of assets and kind of a difficult fight to juggle, as well as bringing in RSS. So difficult spot to fight, and a lot of things to micromanage. A very challenging match for G.
Absolutely. And it looks like some guy is going to try to get a command into Lima. Oh, and we see the M1A1s going up, shooting on the Tomahawk 4s. And the TOC 103 millimeters, I believe, pouring in rounds on the M1A1s. Absolutely doing a number on them, too.
It took a while to gather the response. Spaghetti has pulled some AH-1F Cobras,
And looks
and they are successfully countering units that Jade has placed by Lima.
and the Abrams are being smoked and artillerized at the same time. Looks like the 120 millimeters are finally getting some use now. And Bubble has pulled another Tom Cruise.
Well, looking at the points right now, we have 88 points to 5 points.
990,
So this match is almost over.
992,
Something needs to be done right now, otherwise this match will
994.
end immediately.
Absolutely. 996, 998. Anything can be done, and no. 1000. And that is it. That is it. The baddies have won. The baddies have won the tournament. Good job, everybody.
Hard fought match, some very difficult fights, and you know it's nice to see the comeback kid story. It's nice to see the people who have fought hard, gone down to the redemption bracket, fought through the redemption bracket, and come back to win. Hard loss for the mod squad. They have successfully and aggressively fought every single fight in the tournament, provided some amazing matches to watch, and it's hard to see them lose at this point. But it's always nice to see that redemption story, and congratulations to the Patties for an excellent win and some very good plays, some very solid defense, and some very solid teamwork within the last three matches of the tournament. Um, for myself, for having fought them, very hard fight and very good defense, very good teamwork, very tight play. Um, and that's kind of what I've seen for the end of the tournament here. So it's yeah, mm,
Absolutely.
a finale that definitely did exactly what I thought it would in terms of the baddies fought it hard and the mod squad fought it hard, and good fight, an enjoyable game.
Absolutely. And kind of watching the baddies from the beginning of the tournament progress all the way to the end. I think we've seen them steadily improve their game, and I'll be looking forward to them in our to the members who were part or if they reform in the next tournament. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna be looking forward to our next events on that. Um,
Well,
and that,
I'm hoping that some of the baddies choose to adopt fish themed names, and at some point we may be able to play with them with my comrade Tuna. But until then,
until then,
until then,
yeah.
vengeance.
Uh, so I guess for the tournament, do you feel like you learned anything personally as well, Trout?
I had some excellent matches. I had a lot of fun playing through this tournament. Definitely learned a little bit more about naval combat in the game.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed watching some very tight, very on point fights. Um, it's a little bit hard. You want to see a lot of the fun strategic play, and watching the mod squad. They had some excellent, amazing, solid coordinated attacks that used a lot of different assets. You had air assets, helicopter assets, tanks, and infantry all attacking at the same time in a coordinated manner and successfully taking points. And that is an exciting, cool, fun thing to see. It's awesome to see a team do that, and it's the kind of play you want to see. And it's hard when you see a really solid defense that just says, well, go ahead. We're ready for you. Come at us. We'll deal with you. And it's you get a little bit of both, and you've got to appreciate both. And it really, having listened to the baddies and listened to their communications through the last match, the final, I will say it really has doubled down to me the importance of teamwork, communication, and coordination, and having good comms, open comms, saying what you need, saying where you need it, quickly, efficiently, and on point. Um, and that really, I think, made a difference, especially in the last couple of matches for their team. And I was happy to see that, and I think it's really cool and really solid.
Absolutely. All right. Well then, thank you for everybody for watching this season. We'll see you in our next Macro Deck tournament. Um, so yeah, thank you everybody, and we'll see you then. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who participated and everyone who watches these. Really fun to watch and really fun to be involved, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Absolutely. It's uh it's definitely going to be interesting for the next bout. We'll see how we can flavor up the next season when we get into it.
Gonna add that mad flavor, eh?
I try to. We
All right.
had the improved uh, naval maps for marine players for this tournament. Whether or not that gets carried over to the next tournament, or if we come up with a new flavor altogether, will be interesting. Or if we just go with the standard, uh, the the first tournament of the last season, and see if we go with that. But we'll see. We'll see when we get there.
Well, I'm looking forward to whatever flavor it is. I'm hoping for a like nice cyan and purple vaporwave flavor of 1980s goodness. But I will take whatever I get because no matter what match it is, it'll be fun, and I will definitely learn something. And I've learned something for this one, and I'll learn something for the next. So thank you, Red, for organizing it. Thank you for taking the time to line this all up and get us to butt heads.
Oh yeah, no problem. It was good watching all these bulls pound heads.
Well, you can watch me suffer in the next one as well. I'll be happy to provide that experience to you.
I'm sure we'll all be enthralled to watch. All right, then thank you everybody, and we'll see you in our next video series. Thank you for watching,
See
everybody,
you in the next one.
and thank you for all of our participants. As just as Strout said. See you then.